Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Turn Back the Clock, episode number 27 for my man, Mike Trout. Adam, my co-host. Welcome, Adam. How's it going today?
Great. Happy to be here and happy to have Shane back with us.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? Like, it's been too long. So, yeah, as you guys know, we got Shane, Shoebox Legends, on the show. Shane, how's it going?
Going great. Appreciate you having me.
Dude, so stoked you could join us. And everybody in the chat, dude, I appreciate you guys being here. Just going to be a really fun episode for you guys. We're going to be discussing basically the differences between modern and vintage, like the collectors in general, and how we go about navigating the new cards and the way we see, the future of our collections headed. Are you still on there? Oh, yeah, you just got kicked off, rotated. So this is going to be fun stuff. We're going to do a couple different rounds here. This isn't to tell you guys what to do or anything, but this will give a lot of guys in vintage world like me didn't collect modern for years. I just started collecting in the last year and some months. I used to buy it all the time, but never dove in. And once I dove in, I have had so much fun. And these are going to be our rules that we apply to our own collections. Whether you want to heed them or make your own is all up to you guys. But we're going to have fun with it. So we're going to do 3 questions. First round is going to be, what is the difference between collecting modern versus vintage? And then every guy is going to give their take on it. The second round is going to be how we personally collect modern cards, how we go about doing it in a simple form, however you guys want to share your collections. And then the third round is the case for modern, where Shane really want to talk about this. He wants to sell you guys on collecting modern cards. No, we're just going to tell you guys how much fun it is. So let's get right into it. Shane, everybody knows who you are, so I don't need to give you this huge introduction, but I'm going to have you go first. So we're going to go in reverse order and tell us what's the difference? Why is there this rift between us? What is the difference? Any way you want to take that, whether it's grading differences, however you want to go. And thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So the angle I'm going to take on this one is managing your hobby budget and pricing is very, very different when it comes to vintage baseball cards versus modern, in my opinion. And I guess it's a poor analogy because I don't like linking cards to money. It's not what it's all about. But if you view it like the stock market, and I've heard you say something similar before, Dylan, vintage cards for a long time have been like your blue chip stocks, your S&P index fund. They're always kind of going up a little bit at a time, sometimes more, sometimes less, but they're always holding that value and they're a little bit more predictable. So as an example, I've got this Satchel Paige card. It's one of my favorite cards. I picked this up, 10 years ago, and it's definitely worth more now than it was 10 years ago, but it's never going to go back to, in my opinion, where it was 10 years ago. It's just going to steadily, slowly climb. And I think the modern landscape is way more volatile. A lot of these athletes are still playing. So for better or worse, their careers could improve or go down the toilet. You could be a Wander Franco super collector and wake up one morning and all of a sudden, find yourself in a world of hurt. And then, on a positive note, there's other players whose, cards are rising in value quickly. And I just think, not that it's all about money, but obviously all of us, we want to stretch our hobby dollars as far as we can, get the best deal that we can for our money so we can buy more cards and enjoy the hobby further. And the modern landscape, it's a little bit more unpredictable. And I have a quick story that's kind of an example of how that can come about. So it's going to start off soccer, but I promise it's going to get to baseball really quickly here. So I'm a big soccer fan. I love the World Cup. It's my favorite event in sports every 4 years. And Panini puts out Prism cards for the World Cup every tournament. And so in 2018, they put out their Prism set. And I bought a bunch of packs of it while the tournament was going on in the summer of 2018. They were like $1 a piece on eBay. I bought 50 packs. And one of the cards that I pulled was a Kylian Mbappe. He's the best player on the planet, in my opinion, if you don't know soccer. And at the time, it was worth $5. So I stuck it in a box. It was kind of cool. Well, 2 years later, this thing's worth 4 figures. I sold it, and I used the funds to buy a 1940 play ball Joe DiMaggio, you know, with a card that I sold from that I pulled in a $1 pack. And then, fast
show
forward.
Show that card a little more.
Yeah, so this is a card that I wouldn't own if it wasn't for my involvement in modern cards, because I don't have the card budget to go out and pick up this card on my own. So I have to kind of sell my way into it, or, figure out a way to get there. And in this case, I sold a card that I pulled from a $1 pack. And then fast forward, another 3 years to this past summer, I went back and bought back, the same Mbappe card for a small fraction of what I sold it for just 3 years earlier. And so for better or worse, I think the landscape, collecting modern, it requires you to kind of be plugged in and paying attention a lot more. Like with vintage cards, you can make a list of 40 vintage cards you want to go get. And I feel like you can take the rest of your life to go out there and get them. They're going to cost you more the longer you wait. But with modern, it's changing so quickly. There are so many different sets coming out. The careers are still underway for a lot of these guys. And so I do feel like, to be an effective modern collector, at least personally, I feel like I need to be more plugged in and engaged with the hobby, all the time, and keeping up with updates and new sets and things like that. So that may be viewed as a negative to some, but I enjoy it because it keeps me really engaged in the hobby and the world of sports, honestly.
So what I got out of that is that we should all go out and buy a bunch of packs and open them up and try and get some really expensive cards. I'm just kidding.
That's an extreme example, but I mean, almost everybody
awesome.
I know who collects modern has examples like that, and I have other examples like that myself. So it does happen, and there is a sense of like timing when you're making your purchases. I think you have to pay a lot more attention to that in some cases in modern than maybe you do in vintage, at least from my standpoint.
Yeah, I think it just moves so much faster. Everything is in warp speed, especially now. So I love where you're taking that. And I think that you almost de-sold collecting modern because it sounds really hard. But I think you're going to clarify later how you can find avenues, right? So,
absolutely. Yep.
Love it. Love that story. And I can't believe that card you just shared, that Joe D. Woo! Oh, any thoughts on that, Adam?
Well, Shane's just showing off with that joke. It's funny because you get so like desensitized to cards now. Like Shane just showed a 1940 Joe DiMaggio card, and I'm like, man, that's nice. But like, I don't know, I should have a bigger reaction to that, right? That's awesome. But yeah, there's so many ways I could go with this. But before I say that, I do want that polar bear shirt from Reindeer Studios. So I will be ordering one of those. I hope there's some left, because I want one of those. If not,
dude, you gotta get this
another print run. Yeah, that one's I like that one a lot too. But I think polar bear might be the one I want to go with first.
There you go.
So man, I'm coming at a little different angle because I'm mainly a player collector, not fully, but if you were to sum me up, I'm a player collector. So it's a little easier with vintage because you have way less choices, right? So you can, it's kind of laid out for you. If you want to collect Mickey Mantle, you got, there's some choices, but you could do the base run. It's pretty much set. You get one card per year or whatever. And then you can go off a oddball and go with, all-star cards or food and beverage, but there's not that many options. But then you go into modern. Now, when I'm saying modern, I don't really collect any current players, but like, so Shane, modern would still be like 90s and 2000s stuff, right? So
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, good to clarify that. Yeah.
And then I guess ultra modern would, be
Let's just call it all the same.
Okay, so it's all modern. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I don't do any like the real new modern stuff, but I kind of stopped with Tom Brady when he retired. But the thing is, you can create your own, like I've done. You can create your own lane with it. Like even though there's a million Tom Brady cards, there's a million Pedro Martinez cards. You can figure out like, all right, what lane do I want to go? I'm not going to collect all the cards, no way. But I can pick a certain lane within that player of the cards. And like what I did with Pedro Martinez, look, I'm a fan of Pedro. I loved watching him pitch. Great player. But honestly, the most fun I'm having with Pedro is the actual like type collecting of the cards during the 90s. Like I love this card. I love Pedro on this card here. but the card itself, this is a card I wanted regardless of the player, right? Like I would have taken a Nomar, I would have taken whatever, even like a regular player, common player. But hey, if I can combine Pedro with this essential credentials from 1998, you know, I'll do it. So you can basically decide how you want to do it. You know, you don't have to get overwhelmed with it. Like, oh, he's got, you know, 1 million cards because he's a Modern player. You could just say, I'm only going to collect his, you know, flagship Topps card from every year. Whatever you want to do. Or like what I'm trying to do with Pedro, trying to collect some of these really, you know, chased after, high demand, low serial numbered cards from the 90s and, you know, some in the early 2000s. And then with Tom Brady, you know, I kind of just pick, I'm kind of mainly focusing on rookie cards now of his. He's got 43 different oones. So that alone can be a collecting lifetime right there, just chasing after every one. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of differences in the cards, but there doesn't have to be on how you collect them is how I want to start with this.
That's great advice. Totally agree. Yep.
Yeah, I almost feel like you took the next question and put it on that one.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, so go ahead, Shane.
Oh, no, go ahead, Dylan. Yeah.
I think that, like, since the question was the differences, and I think Shane nailed it. Adam, I think you were just like too stoked to show some cards and want to go to the next.
Well,
one.
okay. The difference is there's a lot more damn options with Modern cards. Well, right?
All right, there we go.
That's the biggest difference, right?
I love it. I mean, I think that's it for me. The difference is the way that the Modern group of collectors are. They want those 10s. They're kind of been bred on it. Then not even all the collectors like us, but the original, the guys, the young guys collecting. They're like bred on these 10s. And I think that's the difference between vintage guys. We are way more, we understand we can't get 10s and we can't get 9s and we can't get 8s. I think the biggest difference between both of them, like Adam said, they're both cards. They're all the same when it comes down to it. But for me, it's the conditions of the cards and getting used to collecting both and understanding that the Modern guys, they like their cards to say 10s on the label, and whether that continues forever, it's definitely been engraved in their head more. I think when they come over to vintage, it's tough for them, in my opinion, to wrap their heads around trying to find good-looking 3s and 4s and 5s, understanding that you don't need those 7s, 8s, and 9s and 10s. And obviously with the Modern, you don't need those either, when I think we'll probably share a bunch of reasons why you don't need those either. But that's how I kind of divide the differences.
Before
for me, there's so many differences.
I got to kick back on that a little bit because I hear that a lot. You know, a lot of the vintage guys, they poo-poo on the Modern guys and, they just chase the grade. They only want 10s. There is a big community, and a lot of it is in this 90s era where they really collect the card itself, because a lot of these you could wait years for, just like pre-war guys wait years for a card to come up. And when it finally does, they don't care what the grade is. They don't care. Most of the cards change hands ungraded in the era of the 90s. So not everyone, and I did say poo-poo. So there we go.
No, that makes so much sense, Adam. I mean, obviously I was oversimplifying it. Yeah.
But the new stuff, yes. The real new stuff, yes.
And I think what you said, I think things are changing. And I hear it on podcasts I listen to. Like, people are, obviously we saw the huge crash of the base cards recently over the last year. And the numbered cards have held strong. A lot of those is held strong in it, regardless of the number. So yeah, good point. Good point, Adam. All right. So let's go to the next phase of this. Next question is really the bread and butter of why we love collecting Modern and vintage at the same time. And you can do both, and you can make it simple. You don't have to get so complicated. It isn't scary. Vintage guys are scared to get into Modern sometimes, and vice versa. And if you find a path and you pick it and you go down it, you can stay in that lane. You don't have to buy every single Pujols card you see or whoever you're collecting. So Shane, that question to you is how you collect Modern cards. How do you do it?
Yeah, and I think that was a great lead in, because you will drive yourself insane if you try to collect every card of a modern player. It's not possible. You'll probably burn out and become frustrated with the hobby, in pretty short order. So I agree with, what Adam said previously and what you just said. Just pick a lane, whether it's a player or a set you like, or a particular team color match, or serial numbered cards, or whatever it is that you want to go after. And another big part of modern is opening wax. I don't do a lot of it myself, because I'm more interested in building a collection for the long term than the temporary enjoyment of, opening a blaster or a hobby box. But it does, on occasion, I enjoy doing that because it's how a lot of us started. I think it's how most of us started. Those of us that collected back when we were kids. So, every beginning of the season, spring training, I like to go out and get a blaster of Topps flagship and just open it up. It's a nostalgic thing, and it kind of takes me back to the root of my collecting. But the way I try to focus on modern is I buy singles, which is not really any different than vintage collectors. I have players that I target, I have sets that I target, and I like to find items that are like a little bit more rare or unique or different for some reason. And then if I can have a personal tie to them, that's even better. So, I'm never going to try to collect every Mookie Betts card, even though I love Mookie Betts. But I try to get serial numbered cards, team matching cards, cards from years where he maybe had a good season, things like that. So, like, here's a Mookie that I love. This is just a blue refractor out of Topps Chrome. It's a graded card, PSA. It's a 9 because I don't care about 10s, contrary to to Dylan's point, which I know a lot of modern, especially ultra modern collectors are into PSA 10s. This one's a 9 because my hobby dollar goes a little bit further if I buy 9s. But this is a serial numbered card, and I don't think you're going to be able to make it out on video, but it's copy 50 of 150, which is Mookie's jersey number and is, prominently displayed on the front of the card on that glorious Dodgers uniform. Wow. So
color match
awesome.
And the number match.
Yeah, color match and number match. And this is, to me, that he's one of the best 5 players in modern baseball. And I think I paid $30 or $40 for this card like a year or two ago. And wow. It's not about money. It's, fun for me. I just enjoy collecting these. And I think there's an element of just enjoyment. It kind of keeps you anchored to the game in the same way that fantasy sports do for some people. It's fun to wake up every morning and check the box scores and see how the players that you're invested in emotionally, not financially, but that you're emotionally invested in, how they're doing. And you with vintage, these guys, their careers are written in stone. And I love vintage. I love all cards. But with modern, I think it is cool to kind of have that element of following these guys as their career unfolds. Sure, that can blow up in your face, like with Wander Franco, for example. Obviously the most famous recent example. But I think if you're smart about what you're buying and you learn from all the great channels here on YouTube and all the other resources that are out there, and you're selective about what you pick up, you can have every bit as much fun collecting modern as you can vintage cards. It's a blast. I could never choose between one or the other. And I think the lines between vintage and modern to me are kind of blurred in a sense too. Like if you collect Nolan Ryan, which I do, and you work on his player run, right there, you're going to have vintage cards and you're going to have cards from the 90s in the same small collection. So I don't think it needs to be black and white. Or, another example is Turn Back the Clock, the show we're on here. Nobody's going to call a 1990 Topps Turn Back the Clock card a vintage card, but if it has a Sandy Koufax card from the 60s depicted on it, it's got an element of vintage to it as well. So I try to find unique cards that are scarce. I don't really go after high population cards, and it's not about money. It's just about wanting to have a collection that's unique and different than something that you see every day or that you could easily attain. Kind of in the same spirit, Dylan, as you going after really well-centered vintage cards. That to you, that's an element that sets them apart from the tons of other vintage cards that are available out there. And there are different ways to do that in modern as well. Like Adam, with your 90s cards, you're not picking up, a 1998 Topps base Pedro Martinez for 50 cents on Sport Lots. You're going for these really tough, impossible to find cards, and you get that same rewarding feeling when you end up with a card like that Dylan probably does when he gets a perfectly centered 1952 Topps card if those exist.
Totally. Yeah.
I loved everything you said, Shane. Everything.
Shane, yeah, you're getting a lot of compliments in these comments, man. Well deserved. You're one of the smartest collectors I've ever come across. So yeah, love listening to you talk about, because it's so true. Like it's all cards. Like you said, they're all cards. I think for me, I have to connect to it, right? Like, so, if I didn't have a player that I could really connect to or something with, like Tom Brady, I don't buy any newer cards. Like I'm talking, 2000, above 2000, really. I don't buy any of those other than really Tom Brady. He's like the only player that I buy because I have a connection to him, as a fan. But I could see some guys are like, I just collect vintage because that's what I connect to. If I try, I hear what you're saying about modern stuff, but I don't know. I don't have the passion for it. I don't want, maybe some of these guys don't watch sports now.
Sure.
I stopped watching sports, honestly. Like I don't watch sports anymore. I canceled my cable recently, and I'll watch the playoffs in basketball and maybe baseball. I don't know, but I find myself not watching sports right now. So I am not connecting right now to the current playing athletes, active athletes. So
okay, well, I guess you mentioned it earlier, Adam, but Brent asked the question or said there is a difference between modern and ultra modern. Where do you guys put that? I have no clue. I've never,
what is it? Like the last 3 years, 5 years, or 3 years is ultra modern, they call it, or whatever?
Yeah, I guess I've always I'm in the camp, if you put a gun to my head and make me choose, I guess I would say I'm in the camp of modern is 1981 and newer, just because 1980 was the last year of just Topps having baseball exclusivity. But I've never really put a lot of thought into what ultra modern is versus modern, and I guess it's a moving target. So if it's the last 5 years, the card that's ultra modern now isn't going to be ultra modern in another 2 years from now. I'm not entirely sure on that one.
Yeah, it's interesting because even with what I'm collecting in the 90s, the cards have been established as far as what are the chase cards for the most part. Like, what the big hits are, the PMGs, the essential credentials, the star rubies. It goes on and on, but it's been kind of established over time. Like, all right, those are the best. You might disagree, but the overwhelming hobby has kind of set forth, all right, these are the best cards to go after. That's why they sell for the most money, for various reasons. And that could change, but I think with ultra modern, it gets real tricky because it hasn't been established what are going to be the cards that are going to be chased after in the future. So it is a gamble. It's less of a gamble when you go a little further back because some of these players are already retired or not alive anymore, so I think that's a huge difference between the ultra modern and the modern too.
Agreed.
Good points. Okay, well, Adam, how do you go about collecting your modern?
So yeah, it's with I pick the players. I like serial numbered cards. I've come to that conclusion. I love vintage cards, but I also love shiny cards. I love refractors. I love the card. Like I just mentioned, precious metal gems. Here's a some would call this just a horrendous looking card, but when you kind of know the history of it and the prominence in the hobby of these cards, this is a Drew Bledsoe precious metal gems from 1997.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a serial number to 150 in football. It's number 17 of 150. And, Bledsoe's not a hobby legend or anything like that, but he was my favorite quarterback before Tom Brady came into the picture. So I want to have a couple cards from that era and from that player. So that was one card I chose. And I forget where I was going with that, but I think you kind of pick certain types of cards that you want to collect, and whether it be shiny cards or certain brands or serial numbered cards lower than 100 or whatever. There's a lot of options, but maybe to make it like a lifelong hobby, you got to really kind of create rules for yourself. Like maybe I've done. Doesn't have to be the type of rules I'm doing, but you got to maybe focus in a little bit on certain, and then you could change and focus in on something else, over time, and you can keep changing if you want. But at least for me, to keep my interest, I need to have a goal, even if it's like a long-term goal, or it could be a short-term goal too. But for me, I need to have projects and goals in order to keep my interest.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. No doubt. I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel
So,
exactly the way.
I'm just going after certain players that I want to collect, player collecting only, and mainly serial numbered cards now, and nice and shiny. So I like both. I hear a lot of the still a lot of the talk of like you're in this camp of you like the old stuff or you're like shiny cards. Why does it have to be that way? Why can't it be both? I feel like all three of us are in that thinking as far as like you can appreciate both for what they are. Each era of the hobby has its own story, and the cards reflect that. And I like having those cards in my collection because it tells the story of the hobby.
Yeah, that's so well said. And that's, to me, that's one of the reasons I love collecting modern is I kind of view my collection as like my own personally curated like history of baseball, the cards that I picked out. And so I love cards that are linked to significant seasons or achievements in the actual sport itself. So like for the same reason I love the 1956 Mickey Mantle, I also want to have some 2023 Shohei Ohtani cards in my collection because that was like a season for the ages. And I feel like if I hold myself to just one of those two eras, I'm just shutting myself off from different roads or avenues I could go down to really enjoy the hobby and learn more about the history of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just reading Darren's comment. All of my shiny cards have tanked in value. I need someone to help me better understand shininess. Yeah, it could be tricky.
That was just bad timing. I think you got into it while it was just booming.
Yeah.
Lou Rock made a point, and we never even made the full date set for my vintage era is anything from 1980 and before. That's vintage for me, and that is such a simple answer is because that's the last time there was a single rookie card, and there was no other companies making cards, basically. So that's why I put it at that, and I was born in 1980. So
I think I saw somebody put this in the comments, and this is kind of how I've always envisioned the eras of the hobby is same as you, Dylan, vintage through 1980. And then from 1980 through like 2010, somewhere around there, 2009, 2010, you had a ton of different companies making cards across that period. So for that like 30-year period, I kind of consider that its own era. And then I look at like 2011 to present as the era of Topps, the Topps monopoly again. So that's kind of how I divide it up. But everybody's got their own opinion on that. You could probably do a whole turn back the clock on just deciding on where those lines of delineation are.
Well, I think that we should write that in the Bible because Shane is an expert. He's like the reason a lot of us guys on YouTube, for me, I'll speak for myself, but I feel like I can speak for more, just inspired me in particular to go after modern. And I went my own route. I did my own thing. But after watching his channel and him talking about things and the passion that he shares, I'll just put that in stone. I agree with you on what you said for those years and why you collect them. I love it. Okay, so for me, collecting modern, because I got in it because of Shane. I mean, I wanted to be involved a little more. And after the prices got crushed, I'm like, this is my chance to buy some Mike Trout cards. And so I'm like, well, where do I want to start? I didn't want any base cards. So what I do is I collect golds. So I went after every single Mike Trout gold card, well, every single one, but one from each year. And the gold cards are numbered to the year, and it kept me on track. And then I turned that golds into going for golds numbered to 50 for other players and other types of things. And then I love Topps Heritage because of the old designs. They're just, I mean, you can get these and they're hard to get. Like you get blacks and they don't make a million parallels, but the gold to me is how I stay focused. Let me give you guys a quick rundown of what not to do or learn from my mistake. So when I first got into it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, oh, I want to collect all Angels cards and I wanted to collect Mike Trout. So I bought a bunch of cool Mike Trout cards. I don't regret any of my Mike Trouts because I bought all serial numbered cards or at least refractors. But then when you get to the newer stuff like Pujols, I started buying like it was an Angels cards of Pujols and so I got a whole stack, right? And there's two of them that are serial numbered, which are awesome. This one, I think this is from you, Shane.
Yeah, it's the ultimate Dylan parallel, Blue Wave.
Yes, I love the Blue Wave. I love these two, but these are the ones I would just buy like any refractor in a 10 because they're like $18 each. And it's just silly because any refractor these are like every other pack. You really need to focus. So I have a stack of like 8 cards that I wish I would not have purchased. But I realized, they weren't that expensive. But I know now. I stick to the good stuff. I stick to the golds. I stick to the number to 50. And what I also love about collecting modern, I guess it's called, you can collect one single card and you can buy it 100 different ways. And this is like Aaron Judge's 2022 Topps Chrome, where he gets the record, and you can collect stacks of them and they all look different. And I love that. It's like if you had a vintage card and you could change the color of it if you wanted. You had like, or that they have the 69 mantle and then 58s, the 2 different colors. But if they really had different colors, man, I would have been all about that. So I try and stay focused. I'm pretty good at staying focused in my lane, but I also will switch to a different guy that I collect, and then you get in a whole new rabbit hole. But that's kind of how I go after it. It's not hard to collect vintage or to collect modern. So why don't we go for the next question? And that is, sell us on modern cards. Is that
Sure.
was the question, right? Like,
no,
you're ready for this.
I got to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And before we get to that, Dylan, I really like the point you made too. You're going to make some mistakes maybe when you get into something new in the hobby, and it's okay to change and switch directions and learn. It's you buying those Pujols and then kind of narrowing your focus after the fact and learning is probably not that different than you buying cards sight unseen from the pit 10 years ago because they were graded a 7. And now, 15 years later, through all your hobby experience and your connections and everything you've learned, you target centered cards now, and you probably never buy a vintage card sight unseen, ever again. So it's okay to make mistakes, and we all adjust and improve as we go and learn from each other. So it's nothing to be intimidated by. It's a fun hobby at the end of the day, and it's supposed to be enjoyable. So I thought that was a good point. So I've got, some reasons I kind of just brainstormed over the last couple of days of why I really love collecting modern cards. And the first one I want to touch on is, if you stick just to vintage, you're going to miss out on a whole subsection of players that just don't have vintage cards, even if they played during the vintage era. And, the best example of that I could think of, I had to pull this card out, is this is an Allen and Ginter Josh Gibson mini. Now he's one of the best hitters in the history of baseball, as probably everybody watching this knows. An amazing story and kind of tragic story. But if he doesn't really have a vintage card, I think he has maybe a postcard that I'd have to mortgage my house if I ever even saw one. So if you're going to stick strictly to vintage and you're going to hold by that standard, you're never going to have one of the greatest hitters in the history of the game represented in your collection. And so it kind of goes back to, I want my collection to be a record of the history of baseball and all the best people that have ever played the game. And if you're going to steadfastly stick to vintage only, you're going to be missing a lot of these guys. I've learned that lesson even a lot more in the last year, because I'm really focusing now on Negro League players and former Negro League players. And those guys, just like they weren't represented in the game of baseball, they weren't represented on cards either. So, it's not just Josh Gibson, but, like Buck Leonard. This is a Panini Prism Buck Leonard card that I picked up in the last year. And he doesn't have really any vintage cardboard or any playing era cardboard, but he's a fascinating personality. And so this is a modern card. It's, to some of the points we brought up earlier, I took my time. It's a card numbered to 10. It's gold, so it's got a lot of those other attributes that I like, but it's a player that played during the vintage era. So just because you collect modern cards doesn't mean you need to stick to modern players or players who played after 1980. And, Adam brought up the point earlier in this episode, some people just don't follow modern sports, which I get. I cut the cable cord on cable probably about 5 years ago. And it's one of the main reasons I'm not really a Red Sox team collector anymore, because I can't watch the team any longer. So exactly. So I've kind of transitioned over to just being a general collector of of the game. But even if you only like those old players, there's tons of opportunity in Modern to get into those older players who played back in the day. And, you know, another example, like I talked about at the beginning of the episode, that is Satchel Paige. This is the only vintage Satchel Paige card that I own. I wish I had the 48 Leaf or the 49 Bowman. Maybe someday. I don't have them. But for me to reach out and get one of those cards would be a huge deal. I'm either going to not have to buy cards for like 6 months to a year, which is not going to happen, or I've got to sell a bunch of cards to get into it. But I can go out and get a card like this, you know, Topps Gilded Collection Satchel Paige, which is absolutely gorgeous, has amazing shine. And this set me back like $25. It's numbered to 50. And I can, you know, expand on my Satchel Paige collection, which is something that I wouldn't be able to do if I was, you know, strictly sticking to vintage. So that was kind of the first point I wanted to make there.
Okay, I can take them off now. Dude, when you showed that Satchel Page, I had to immediately put these things on. That card is incredible looking.
We got Pepino Man on here.
Nice.
Dude, that's awesome, Shane. I want to keep you talking. What else you got?
Yeah, I mean, some of the other points I already made, you know, I don't really, while we, as collectors, we try to define and catalog and organize everything, and that's fine if you're working on like a checklist or a player run, but I don't feel like the eras of baseball cards really fit into neat little boxes like that. You know, like I talked about with Nolan Ryan, if you're going to collect him, you're going to have cards from the 60s and cards from the 90s. It's unavoidable. And so, you know, to me, cards are cards. You're in it for fun. You're in it because you enjoy the hobby. If your goal is to, your number one overriding goal is to maintain the value of your collection, the monetary value of your collection, I would say you're better off sticking with vintage because it's a known commodity. But if you just want to have fun and enjoy yourself, there's so much to love about modern cardboard. You know, and another point I wanted to make about modern, you get access to like a trove of amazing images and photographs that you don't have available if you stick to vintage only. Like if you look at like a Hank Aaron or Willie Mays, yeah, here you go, Dylan. So, you know, Mickey Mantle, he's great, but like some of his cards in the 60s, they kind of look similar. He has some epic cards in the 50s, but they're largely portrait shots, and you're not going to get photos like those two beautiful gold refractors you just showed, you know, action images or kind of quirky off the wall images. And one of the sets, the modern sets that I enjoy the most on that front is Stadium Club. You know, I've got playing era Hank Aaron cards. I love Hank Aaron. But like this image here, you know, again, if you stick to vintage, look at that image. Like, how awesome is that? Maybe the two best baseball players in the history of the game, Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, laughing together. I'm guessing this is at like an all-star game. I think that might be Dodger Stadium in the background. I'm not entirely sure. But like that is an all-time image that you're not going to get if you stay away from modern cards. And again, if monetary value isn't your goal, you can go out and get a copy of this for 50 cents on ComC and just kind of enjoy this in your collection. So, you know, if the images on the card and the aesthetics on a card matter to you, then I think modern is, you know, has some great opportunities. Joe DiMaggio, I have one other example here. You know, this play ball card is great. I love it. But like this image is equally cool to me. This is a 2015 Stadium Club card. And like, how great is that photograph?
Man. I've never
Joe
seen
DiMaggio.
that.
Awesome.
Look at that photo.
It's like a drone took that from.
That's
Yeah, killer. And I think these bats are you know, writing out the number 45, which I think is the record that he broke for a consecutive game hit streak. So just there's a trove of images that you will never get access to if you strictly stick to vintage cardboard.
Might even get Rick to buy some modern stuff, modern shines.
Well, and it's, you know what, that's a great point. So I have we'll use that as a segue. You know, I like unique cards. I mentioned, I think, when I was talking about why I collect modern, I'm drawn, the longer I'm in the hobby, the more I'm drawn to cards that you just don't see every day or that are different than the norm. And in the vintage world, if you want to go after those type of cards, you better have a big wallet. You're going to be battling the John Manginis and the Ricks of the world and the Blue Jacket 66s. You're going to be on Robert Edwards auction houses. And like, I don't play in that sphere. I want to stay engaged and buy smaller cards more often. But in modern, I can go out and get something, like this Joe DiMaggio. There's 7 copies of this. It's a members only parallel. There's only 7 in existence. So you're not going to find this every day, but it cost me $25. And I added an item to my collection that's unique, that you don't see all the time. And I can do it on a budget, which is not always the case. Yes, there are oddball or very different vintage cards outside, the Topps and Bowman and Gaudy that you see more frequently. But those are very, very expensive cards. And you're not going to stumble upon or be able to use research as like an advantage to get those cards for yourself. Like, they're a known commodity, they're extremely expensive, and without a lot of money, you're just not going to acquire them. But with vintage, and especially, the newer modern stuff, I feel like you can use your time invested and the learning that you're doing to kind of get a leg up in some cases and kind of find these diamonds in the rough for a cheap coin that are still unique and kind of differentiate your collection from all the other collections that are out there.
Love it. Oh, Adam, before you answer, I have another question. If you can answer this one too, but I kind of want to, because Adam's got to go soon. Adam, I mean, to you, Shane, what do you say to people who say those are manufactured scarcity? That's the biggest thing that I think vintage collectors say. Well, it's just manufactured, just a company stamp on those cards. What is your response to something like that as a defender of collecting modern as a way to store some value? And for me, like, when I buy a card, I want it to be worth money. So what's defending that position? Adam, I mean, you could take the other question too, but I thought this would be a good one. Get the fire rolling.
Guys, look, I know first I'm getting a lot of comments on my lighting. Look, I don't have the budget that you guys have, like John 3D80's kid, Rick, and sports card investor, to invest all this money in your setup and your lighting and your makeup. Look, I spend my money on cards, guys. All right. I'm into cards. I'm not into lighting.
The only guy here that has the 52 mantle.
I don't care how things look in my garage here. Okay. I don't care how pretty I look. If people can see my face, I'm fine. Relax. Anyway, sorry guys. I'm just kidding. I hope I'm very sarcastic. I hope no one ever takes offense to anything, because I'm always kidding.
Everyone's so mad at you.
To your question, manufactured scarcity. You're right. It is. And so what? Who cares? I don't care. Here's the thing. I love, I love a chase. I think a lot of us do. That's why we're in this thing, right? For a lot of us, is to chase stuff. And we don't want it to be over real quick, right? So there's 2 ways to do it. And I've done both, and I enjoy both. One is when you save up the money to buy a card that's always there, right? Like a 52 mantle. It's a chase because I got to save up the money to buy this damn thing. It's always going to be there when I want it, but I got to save up the money. All right. So that's cool. That's fine. And a lot of vintage cards are like that. When you save up the money, then you go get the next thing. It's always there. There's always 10 on eBay. You can always get it. Now, Dylan, I know, yes, centered, of course. There's not that many centered ones. So you chase, and I agree with you. I'm totally in agreement. I'm not being facetious there. I totally agree with you. But with modern, that you can do a different chase, which is you can chase cards that aren't that expensive, that might not come around for years. And man, let me tell you something. That's fun. When a card pops up that you've been waiting to pop up for 3 years, and it pops up and you score it for $100, that's fun, man. So that's my sales pitch. It's funny because I was just thinking about the first interview I ever went on after I got out of college. This guy, I never forget it. It was for a sales job that I didn't even want. I was just doing it because that's what you're supposed to do. I went to college, and now I got to go on this interview for a job I'm going to hate. And the guy goes, all right, sell me this pen. He goes, sell me this pen. And I just looked at him, and I was like, I'm just going to walk out of here, man. This is stupid.
All that college you went to, and that was the question he asked?
We paid all that money to go to college, and you're asking me to sell you a pen? Give me a break, man. All right, I'm fired up tonight.
Oh, dude, Adam, you can't leave. That was good.
No, I'll stay. I'm going to stay for 5. Okay, I'm going to stay for a few more minutes, and then, guys, maybe someone can come in as a closer for me. Come in for a closer. Little Mo Rivera action. I'm good for 5 innings. So, yeah, that's my sales pitch. So, yeah, I forget if there was any other questions.
I think that was the perfect answer.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I don't deny it. Obviously, it's manufactured scarcity. These cards are being created right now in modern times. So that's the only type of scarcity that's going to exist with modern cards is manufactured scarcity. But to me, that doesn't, to your point, Adam, that doesn't lessen the joy of finding that gem. And I've had the same experience where there's been cards where I've, wondered whether they even exist or not for 2 or 3 years. And then you finally land it. And that feeling is, just as good as landing like a huge vintage card to me anyway. So I think that was the perfect answer to that question.
Like I was just doing a trade with this guy, and I don't know how much money he has, but it seemed like he had a lot of money, And so he's a guy that he could afford any card he wants, right? But the bottom line is there's cards that he's dying to get, and he'll pay anything for them. But the bottom line is they're not coming up. And Rick had a question in the chat before about pre-war, and I think there's a lot of parallels with certain pre-war cards and some modern cards where, with pre-war, you might wait years for that card to pop up. And then, like you said, people are going after it on Heritage, or there's even some ones that go under the radar still, pre-war stuff. So it's not all
that's
that
going to poke Rick right there. That's going to poke him.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm complimenting. I love
pre-war. The old ones.
I love the idea of pre-war. I haven't really gone too far into it, but I like kind of the idea of how to collect pre-war where you don't worry about condition or grade. It's just about finding that card when it comes up, and it's fun.
Yeah. Dude, I love it. I mean, this is turning into some fire already. Shane, do you have the same answer to that, the rarity thing? Because that's the number one thing that is always thrown around. Like it's fake rarity. Is it?
Yeah,
really
and I mean, so two things about that. I agree. Like, like I said, I think Adam's answer was perfect. I'm not denying that. It is artificial scarcity. The companies are producing the cards right now, and they're making fewer of some than they are of others. But to me, that doesn't diminish the reward. And 2-part answer. But number one, especially with modern, I'm not in it for an investment. I'm in it for fun. So I buy a lot more smaller dollar modern cards. I'm not buying comma cards of modern cards. So there's not the same amount of money invested. Yeah. Okay. This Joe DiMaggio, is it artificial scarcity that there's only 7 copies of this parallel out there? Yes. But I spent $20 on it. The same amount of money as if I went down to Target and bought a blaster of Topps, which would probably yield nothing for my collection when once I was through with the excitement of opening it. So it's not like it's keeping me up at night, whether or not these cards maintain their value. But the other part of that is, if money is your goal or maintaining the value of collection is your goal, I think Adam can attest to this. If you buy the right stuff and your stuff and you do your research, there are absolutely modern cards that have and will continue to skyrocket in value because there's a ton of people out there like Adam and myself that feel this way and that are hunting those cards and that get excited when they finally pop up. And I mean, some of the Pedro cards I've seen Adam show on his channel are just like mind blowing to me. And things that you won't see for 10 or 20 years in the hobby. I mean, Adam's shown some Pedros that I've never seen in all the time I've been in the hobby. And so those cards, I am confident will hold their value in the same way that his Mickey Mantle run is going to into the future.
And by the way, I want to add before I go, I want to defend Pedro a little bit here. I've been showing a lot of Pedro stuff on my channel here, and I've been getting some even private messages of like, what's with Pedro? Why are you collecting Pedro? Hey guys, he's the number 11 he's the ranked 11th best baseball player of all time by ESPN. So there we go. How about that?
I'm going to get roasted. I'm going to get roasted for this. I'm going to get roasted for this in the comments, but around the turn of the century, he was Koufax-esque in the late 90s and the early 2000s, absolutely lights out. I saw him in person plenty of times as a Red Sox fan living in New England, and he is the greatest pitcher I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. So you're not going to get any crap from me, Adam.
How do you like that, Greg, in the chat?
You won't get any crap from me. I wasn't a fan of Pedro because he was so dominant. I'm not a fan of the Red Sox. So yeah, but I love that you're going after him. I think it's smart. I think he's insane.
And it's just, I think that's that's the whole thing. If you don't have anyone you really connect to, or you don't care about sports, you haven't cared about sports in a long time, then maybe modern isn't for you. But even though you may not have a favorite player or even a team, it still can be a fun thing. Like Dylan, I love the fact that you've said before, like there's been periods of your life where you didn't even care about sports. You weren't even, watching sports, or didn't even really care that much about, you're probably not as much of a sports fan as a lot of guys on YouTube, but you love cards more than anybody I know. So it can be about the cards too. Like the history of the cards and why they're awesome, regardless of the player. So there's different ways you can go about it.
Yeah, I know Lou Rock. I've seen him popping up in the comments here. He's obviously a big Clemente guy. Like here's a Clemente card that is awesome. Like this is from Gilded Collection. But I did Adam. I latched onto your Fab 4 video concept, which I absolutely love, by the way. And I chose this as one of my 4 favorite Roberto Clemente cards, even though I have vintage Clemente. There's Dylan's binder of Gilded right there.
It always amazes me how fast you guys, like some of you guys, like Dylan, you just
organized.
Like within 2 seconds you pull it out. Like, how did you do that?
Dude, when I got a video going, I have my binders. Well, they're behind this wall. This thing pulls out, but I have some that I might represent, and that happened to be right there. Dude, I'm organized. I don't have a ton. I don't have millions of cards. I have a precise amount. I actually just went through my graded slabs and took everything out I sold and everything. I'm actually down to 900 and I think it was 38, which is awesome because I really was trying to bring that number down over the last year and a half, but it kept growing. But then I finally, because of taxes, I had to write everything I sold, and I took everything out, cleaned it, and I'm like, I was proud of myself. I was like, okay, I have less cards this year than I did last year, but better cards, more fun cards. So okay, there was another question a long time ago. Adam, just let us know when you got to leave.
I just decided I'm going 9 more minutes. I'm going to the hour mark. I'm going.
Oh, okay.
I wish I could do this longer, but yeah, I'm going 9 more minutes.
Okay, so if you look at your collection, what percentage of your collection is vintage versus modern? If you had a rough estimate. And include what your collection is, not just cards and boxes, but like your collection that is yours. So, Adam, since you're leaving, why don't you go first in case you take 90 minutes?
It's definitely it's more modern now. It used to be pretty much all vintage for a while, and now with the heavy Tom Brady and Pedro cards that I've been picking up, I would probably say it's like 70-30. And that just has to do with the fact that, there's more modern cards to go after than vintage. So, but I still love vintage. I don't want people to think that. I love vintage. But, I would say it's probably 70-30, 70 modern, 30 vintage.
Okay. Shane, what about you?
So I actually have a weirdly specific answer to that, because when you threw this concept out a couple days ago, I had just recently on my channel done like a top 100 countdown of like my favorite 100 cards that I've shown across all the time I've been on YouTube. And so before we got on tonight, I just took a quick look at my spreadsheet, and across that 100 cards, just figured out how many of them were vintage 1980 and prior and how many were modern. And it was 56 vintage cards and 44 modern cards. So I'm like right about down the middle. And I think if you looked at my collection overall, on the whole, it's close to 50-50. I really just enjoy all of it. Maybe in recent years, like Adam, I've maybe bought a little bit more modern than vintage, but I love it all.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm probably 80-20, 20% modern, 80% vintage. But modern, like it's just so much. I hate to say the word easy, but it is a lot easier to buy the card because you don't really have to look for those perfectly good looking 4s. You can just, once you find the card, you're hoping that it's in a 9 or below because you don't want to spend the 10 tax. So You're really trying to find that it's hard to find the card, but once you find it, condition doesn't matter because it's not going to be bent in half. It's not going to be wrecked. Whereas you could hunt for 3 years to find a perfect 1958 Warren Spahn that has no print dots and is perfectly centered. and and it's not a 9 or a 10. It literally could take you 3 years. But the modern, I mean, once you find a path like these goals that I found, I mean, you can get the whole collection in a month on most of them. But then there's those ones that just boom. But it's so fun because you can jump from player to player. So I collect about 4 different players, I think, in modern and ultra modern now. What about you guys? What other players do you guys collect in ultra modern and modern? I know Adam, I think I know your guys's, but Shane, give us your group of guys, your main guys.
Yeah, I mean, for baseball, I'm a big Mookie Betts fan. So I live in New England. I go to tons of Red Sox games every year, even though I don't watch them on TV anymore. He brought the latest championship to the city in 2018. He won a batting title that year, an MVP. He was the guy. He's an awesome just individual too. Like, he just seems like off the field, he's a really solid dude. He's actually like a professional bowler. He's bowled some perfect games. He's just a fascinating guy. Beautiful card right there.
Just keep talking. I'm just showing.
Oh yeah, no. So yeah, Mookie Betts is a big one for me. I do have quite a bit of Mike Trout, and I know I'll get roasted for that, just right alongside you, Dylan. But to me, regardless of the injuries, other things, you look at his WAR and his numbers, and more importantly, there's the game of baseball, and then there's the hobby of baseball cards. And I think regardless of what happens the rest of Mike Trout's career, to me, he's on my Mount Rushmore of the baseball card hobby, just because of how big his rookie card is. And he was like the guy throughout the entire 2010s, 3 MVPs. And I think him and Shohei Ohtani, brought a lot of people into the hobby and kind of continued the excitement on from guys like Mickey Mantle and Ken Griffey Jr. And I kind of think Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani are, in large part, maybe those next names that kind of are continuing that trend onward. So I try to go for the bigger guys, especially if I'm going to spend a decent amount of money on a modern card, because again, it is risky. I have one nice Wander Franco card because I wanted one in case he went on to have a Hall of Fame career, but I wouldn't, I try to safeguard myself to the extent that I can and really stick with like the superstar players. And then in the case of Mookie Betts, somebody who has, personal meaning to me, who I've seen play and who had a lot of success, for my area of the country that I live in.
Yeah, I have a lot to say there, but Adam, anything else you want to add to anything?
Well, one last point too, kind of going back, but I'm drawing these parallels. Like there's a lot of people who collect pre-war that do type collecting, right? So it's not just about I need a Babe Ruth card or a Ty Cobb card or Lou Gehrig or Joe Jackson or any of it. It's I just want a card from this set. Like, for example, I wanted a 1914 Cracker Jack card, so I got a Stuffy McGinnis. A good player, not a Hall of Famer, but a good story to him. But I just wanted, regardless of the player, I wanted a card from that set, and that set carries weight in the hobby, regardless of what player's on the card. You can also say that about these cards and these sets, right? So you got, precious metal gems, essential credentials, whether it's Drew Bledsoe or Pedro Martinez or whoever, common players. It doesn't even matter. Like, these are, Hall of Fame. Bledsoe's not a Hall of Famer, but he was a Pro Bowler. And then you got Pedro, Hall of Famer, all-time great. But even if it's whoever, insert player name, these cards and these sets carry weight because there's people that are always going to want these cards from these inserts or these sets, regardless of who's on the card. They're always going to maintain some value, or even aside from that, they're always going to maintain importance in the hobby because of how important the cards were in that set. So there we go.
Yeah, and I think, just to kind of come around, like I said earlier, not everything fits into a neat definition or a box either. And some of it is like a gut judgment call. Like, we have players we gravitate towards, or sets or numbered cards or whatever else. But at the end of the day, a card has to speak to me. I'm not going to buy a card just because this is what I do and this is the lane I'm in. There's an intangible, element where a card just has to, and it's hard to kind of put your finger on it. But I think the longer you're at it and the more you're influenced by others and you make mistakes and you learn from your mistakes, and over time, you just kind of, you get a gut feeling on whether it's a card that's one you want to add to your collection or not. I think most people watching this probably can relate to that to an extent.
Dylan, I have a little game that maybe it's a bad idea, but as I sign off here, if you want a closer or replacement, maybe you throw the link in the chat, and whoever clicks on it first comes in. I don't know. That's just a thought. I don't know. Maybe that's crazy.
Because he's leaving, he's trying to throw a landmine. I already sent out a couple of texts.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
I have no issue with that whatsoever.
All right. Well, it's totally up to you. It's your channel. So
let me see. Oh my gosh, what did I just do? See, I try something here. Oh, here we go. Copy. Anybody who wants to join, they are more than welcome.
Send it in. Tired. I'm like, it's like a 3-2 game. I'm a 38-year-old starter. Had a decent career, but my fastball's got no life left on it. My curveball's hanging a little bit.
Time for the ice bath.
Reliever right here.
Yep.
Dude, Adam, you were just like getting fired up. I mean, man, I wish you could stay. We're just getting going.
I know. I just took the day off of work yesterday, so I got things I got to catch up on with work and all that stuff. Let me tell you, when I'm retired someday, oh man, I'll be doing these all night long with you guys if you're down. So
turn back the clock every night.
Yeah,
dude, how great is that when we're older? Like, I mean, my friends at home, like our normal friends, or at least my normal friends, I don't want anything to do with FaceTime videoing them. Like nothing. Like if I call them, I want to just talk to them on the phone while I'm driving or going somewhere. But this, like, we could come in here and just talk for like 6 hours straight and just have the best time of our life.
All right, guys. Well, I always love talking with you. You're the only other two guys I know of that love the turn back the clock cards like I do. So it's always a joy talking to you guys. Who we got? Yeah, Lou.
Hey. Rock, he's on. He doesn't know. He's on. Yeah,
Lou, come in, man. Close it down for me.
Hey, later, Adam. Hey, thanks for coming on.
You got to play Enter Sandman, baby.
Dude, right when Adam leaves.
Dude, all right, I'll see you guys. See you.
Went up to 50 years. Why are you leaving, Adam? Come on.
Lou's going to close it down. Mo Rivera, 95-mile-an-hour cutter right there.
Yeah, you know what's coming.
Later, dude.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks, man.
100%.
Hey, Lou, welcome, man. Stoked you could join on. Super stoked.
Yeah, bro. I know we had plans yesterday, but I know stuff always comes up.
Yep.
That's life. So.
Hey, okay. So since I want to ask we have a lot of people in the chat. Does anyone have any questions out there about, questions to Shane, Lou, me, literally anything, modern, vintage? We don't have to stay on this exact subject.
I got it covered. Tell us anything.
Anything, man. We'll handle whatever you got firing. Shane's in this.
I got a card while we wait here, while we wait for some questions to come in.
Yes, please.
So one of the other things I love about modern, for me, it's a pathway to guys that I can't afford in vintage. Like, I would love a Babe Ruth, a vintage Babe Ruth card, playing era Babe Ruth. It's like a dream for me, but that's not really in the cards at the moment. But I picked up this one recently. I haven't shown this one yet, but it's a Babe Ruth bat relic.
You got a piece of Babe Ruth's bat in your hand right now.
Yeah, I mean, how cool is that? I know relics aren't for everybody. I'm not a huge relic guy myself, but to me, for a probably 1/20th of the price of a playing era Babe Ruth, I got something in my collection to represent him that feels significant and cool. So
that's right up Lou Rock's alley right there.
Oh yeah. I was just answering the chat.
You got it. Yeah, we have any questions? We got any questions in here?
Look at Mike. I recognize that hairdo right there.
Welcome, Petty.
This guy.
Mike,
already
have you met Shane on a
Shane, my hands? You guys must be fucking kidding me. Is this some kind of a joke?
It's about to get low eye appeal up in here. Yep.
Oh, okay. Here we go. We've got a question, guys. This is a good question, and this could include our collections, because I think me and Shane, I know for sure this is kind of how we collect. And then so question from Dom, Staven Sports Cards. Since y'all actually like modern, talk about active guys you think will make the haul down the road. Who's going? I mean, there's
the obvious one, Mookie Betts, for me.
How are you, Lou?
Nah. the obvious answer is Shohei. I think if the only guy you compare him to is Babe Ruth, is a wrap. Okay, I mean, you can say Juan Soto, you can say Acuna, but a lot of guys got Rookie of the Years, MVPs. Look at Cody Bellinger. I love Cody Bellinger in 2017, Rookie of the Year, MVP. I'm glad the guy went to Chicago, had a renaissance. I don't think he's signed yet. Shohei is the clear cut. He could leave tomorrow and he'll be in the Hall. Maybe not first ballot, but he'll be in there because the stuff he's doing, the numbers that you can only compare him to the Babe. So Shohei is a lock. Other guys, I like Juan Soto. I like his trajectory. The kid is 24. He's still younger than Rushman. Who's the other kid in Baltimore? I mean, these guys are getting
Henderson.
Rookies of the Year. Huh?
Gunnar Henderson?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, and Soto's still 24. It seems like he's been playing forever. So Soto is just on an unbelievable track. Acuna's still pretty young, came back from that knee injury. But if it's not Shohei, I like Soto, especially if he stays in the pinstripes. So those are my guys.
I want to get Mike going here, so I want to say Mike Trout's a lock.
And Lou too. I don't think the Mike. Give us your take, Mike.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yeah, awesome. Hey guys, Lou, I didn't say hi to you. How are you, my handsome friend?
Good, my friend. I mean,
Right
I should
on.
take off the hat. I got some locks too, brother. I got some
Dude,
locks.
looking good, man. You have what I call Lego
I was
hair.
really interested. I was really enjoying your talk tonight. It was good. My wife said it was just killing her. She couldn't listen to it. But she said that Dylan is so handsome. She didn't get a look at Lou though.
Yeah.
No, so I just want to talk to you guys and see what you're thinking about here about these modern cards you're talking about.
I love them, man. I have so much fun with them. It's just like it's so fun. It fills in all the gaps for me. Like collecting vintage sometimes it feels like work when you collect them. Like I'm trying to collect them, like trying to find that one card, or where you're at, Mike, like trying to find every card's got to be like a grail card. It can be exhausting going on eBay and looking for a 19 whatever, and me trying to find.
I agree. I think you guys. I just want to say you guys convinced me. I'm gonna go buy all those fake patches now and all the fake relic cards with the fake Ruth bat in it. The fake Ruth card. Like, do you really think that that's a piece of Babe Ruth's bat? Yes or no?
Yes, I do, and I think I don't collect relics. I have one.
I know, but
I think they're real because
those have been the biggest scams for like the last 50 years.
I think when you're buying them,
I don't like scams.
I don't think
are
it's a scam.
scams.
I think when you're buying them from Topps, you're buying them from Upper Deck, you're buying them from Panini. They have records of what.
Do you think that matters? You think those companies have the integrity that that they're just not? You think they're going to chop up a Babe Ruth bat and put that in there?
I think they did.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
You think they're going to spend that kind of money and they're going to shave it into what, 1 million pieces? So you
ever heard of fractional? Petty, you ever heard of fractional ownership? Fractional ownership is not a new term. It's been going on forever.
So that's what it is? That's what it is.
Yes, it is. I mean,
I just think it's all bullshit.
I was against it, but I mean, you could track back some of these bat knobs like Aaron Davis has. They, with the PSA DNA sticker, photo match. I mean, it's crazy.
You didn't see the card porn guy with the photo match? You didn't see the card porn guy with the photo match?
I did see that, bro. I did. I'm not new to the game.
But do you think that's the first time that's ever happened?
It is a tool that you can use. I mean, the family of Josh Gibson.
It's a bullshit tool that you can use to scam people out of their money. That's what it
bro.
is.
If you're gonna be negative about everything, you can be negative about everything.
I'm just trying to tell you.
You just gonna keep on talking, saying bullshit. Josh Gibson's family, the family of Josh Gibson, donated bats and co-signed, and they still cut up a Josh Gibson bat. Like, who does that? These companies, because they don't give a shit. They want to sell cards. That's all they care about. They don't care about putting in the Hall of Fame. They don't care about preserving it. They just want to cut it up. and sell it. So yes, I do believe
Okay.
they were cutting.
So they basically they gave them the bat. They said, "Here you go," and then they just sliced it into a million pieces for free.
Yeah.
And now all
Unless
of a
like
sudden,
Turner, like if it was me,
they didn't give it to the Hall of Fame, and that's a documented story. I don't know that it's for sure, but I mean, I take your word for it. I never heard that story before.
I will say
Yeah,
I have very few. Like I can count on one hand the number of relic cards I have, and one thing that bugs me about them, almost every one you get now, you look on the back of the card, and it's not even guaranteed on the card any longer. It says this is not from any particular game, event, or photo shoot. So I mean, it could the guy puts the jersey on for 5 seconds in the clubhouse and takes it back off, and they cut it up and put it in a card. That does nothing.
That's
for
a
me.
problem.
Right.
Yeah,
That
Well,
sucks.
that's what I'm talking about.
But Mike, you collect the old stuff like Aaron Davis has shown.
Well,
like there's some stuff out there that is legit, and you can track it and trace it. And on the back of the old cards in the early late 90s, early 2000s, still some, but you look on the back and it will guarantee that it's an authentic piece from a game that he played. Didn't say what exactly is and is there. I mean, you can argue all
I will
day
agree
long.
with Mike. I will agree with Mike. So I'm going backpedal now. if you're talking about relics from 98 to like 2006, when you had Upper Deck, when you had Donruss, Timeless Classics, Timeless Treasures, where they were doing actual authentications, actually putting decent authentications on the card, yes, those are authentic. The new shit, the bullshit that Shane was talking about, we can't confirm or deny.
Yeah,
that stuff. I don't even buy that stuff. The stuff
I don't
I'm
even buy
buying.
No point.
Yeah, the 2008s and under. Like all the relics I have.
Basically, you have to decipher the bullshit from the non-bullshit, right?
That's why we got Lou in the house and Shane.
That's why I wouldn't bother with it.
Yep.
But if you got more power to you, if you enjoy finding that diamond in the rough, and you think that it is what it says it is, then that's all that matters. You're the only one that has to believe it. I'm just telling you, as a guy with experience, you need to show me first. Don't blow me. Show me. And I don't believe it because I've seen scams since the 1980s. The next thing you're going to tell me is there was no unopened 1951 fake packs and Christmas packs and racks and all this shit and all this unopened stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of it is good, but a lot of it's not. And I don't want to decipher it for $20 even. I guess, I don't know. I don't want to even throw $20 in the trash can these days. I worked too hard for it. And so I don't want to be parted for my money. If it's entertainment for you, though, and you enjoy it and it's a treasure to you and you like the way it shines for gold, frankly, I'd rather have the gold. I don't need a $20 trinket and look at it. It doesn't make me feel good. I mean, if it makes you feel good, that's good. That's all. You're the only ones that know your own situation. I'm just here to tell you, as an older guy from a different generation, that 90% of it is bullshit. And if you think that these companies give a fuck about you as a collector, you got another thing coming. You think somebody's going to go out and buy a company's going to buy a company for $100 million and they're going to give a shit about you, the collector? Fuck no, they don't care. Companies don't care. That's all. I mean, they only care about their bottom line. They care about their bottom line. I mean, maybe I'm just jaded because I've seen it for so long and I'm so anti-corporate America. But as this card industry is becoming, managed now by basically you're going to have 2 or 3 conglomerates that own everything. They're not going to lose. Do you understand that? There are not going to be that many winners. It's a fucking pyramid scheme. And that's all there is. There's going to be some people that win at the top and most of the people at the bottom that are losing. And that's just my opinion on it. I mean, from what I've seen and the way I've seen businesses run and what happens to businesses and stuff, what they get bought out over time. It's just experience. But doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. Nobody really knows, but just my opinion. I personally, as somebody who's already lost in that arena, I'm not going to be taking advantage of it again. It's like, you know, you don't want to get your head beat against the wall more than once. I'm not going to get taken. So I'm also not going to hit a home run by buying a card for $20 and having it be worth $3,000. I'm not good.
Yeah,
That will
you
never
had a bad
happen.
experience, and now you're jaded.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much. I mean,
That's all
that's
it is.
exactly it.
I mean,
Yeah,
90%.
there's no question. Fanatics and PSA, their goal is to make money. That's
Yeah.
why they exist.
And
Agreed.
all these companies that are, I mean, anybody that's worked for corporate America, they don't give a shit about you as a person. It's only what you can do for them. The minute you don't do it, you're fucking out of there. You're out.
All right. Hey, I'm gonna take reins on this whole freaking fiasco. I love Mike's energy. I love you're getting into it. But let's stick to some questions. Mike, why will you collect? Do you collect any modern at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
I mean, I don't care about.
You ain't just hear the story,
I
bro.
don't care about a hanger. I don't care
Just
about
wanted to clarify.
I don't care about a
You
mega
just hear it
box,
for the last
about
10 minutes.
a Kaboomy, a Downtowny, an Aqua Fresh, a Red Ruby, gold parallelogram. I don't give a fuck about that stuff.
Here's the thing.
There's so much of it.
Here's the thing.
It's
Here's
incredible.
the thing.
I can't fault.
To jump in, I totally understand that. But everything is manufactured rarity to a point. Someone made something. Some stuff got destroyed. Some stuff lasted. Some stuff looks like this. Some stuff looks like that. Modern is no different. They're not printing more cards from 2010, 2018, 2012. And it's proven fact that modern cards are worth money. Not just the last 3 years, but over the course of history. There's no doubt about that there is, and it's not like we're like buying these cards just because we want it to be worth money. But I mean, when I buy a card, I want it to be worth more money in the future, or at least the same for most of my cards. I obviously have exceptions, but it's also proven that it's not all just, some of the hand stamps these. They're just made up serial numbers and parallels, but they still have a hold on us collectors' lives, and they're still going to be relevant in the future.
I think that you have to ask yourself, why does that have a hold on your life then?
Because it's fun.
There's so much of it.
But there's not so much when you narrow it, but you have to narrow your focus down. There's just like anything. There's so many 1970s.
I heard the other day there was 63 Wembley parallelograms.
Dude, there's so many vintage baseball cards as well. There's so many top.
You go to the National, how many 52 manuals you see? I mean, it's not rare.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing rare.
No. There is a lot of noise and stuff you have to sift out for sure. I completely agree with Mike. There is a lot of stuff out there that just has no value. If retaining value is your goal, 100% correct. There's a lot of noise.
Hey, hold on. Mike, just so you know, I use bad language as well, but I'm just trying to keep this family friendly. Greg, I know and Greg's one of my friends. I made trades with him. I mean, it's okay,
No, that's not.
Maybe not the F-bomb to the moon. You are. Remember, I did this before.
All right, guys.
Hey, dude, Mike, dude, don't be yourself, please. But I just
I don't want to alienate a listener like that.
I don't know what time zone he's on, but I was like, it's late over here. It's 10 o'clock.
What's on your radar?
Without that, me, I believe it. So we're just
rated R.
What's on your radar? What's the card you're
I don't have nothing's on my radar anymore. I mean, I can't find anything. I need to start.
You have everything, bro.
No, I need to find more PSA 10s. That's what I need. I mean, that's what the hobby needs: more PSA 10s, and then everything's just going to be fine. If that's I'm not buying it. I don't think the hobby is a scam. I don't think it's in a good.
I think PSA 10s pretty crazy, but I don't think it's going away.
They're exaggerated, and they're only going to be more and more and more. They're grading 1 million cards a month.
Well, I love all these I love all these PSA reviews that I see these young kids do, and I mean, I get when you have a high grade from a car from the 60s
Here
and
we go.
70s because the technology sucked. But these cars are being laser cut in great conditions for the purposes of collecting. So yeah, you're gonna have a couple OC cars here, but they get so excited over a 10 and they're sad when they get a 9. It's like the biggest scam in the world is a PSA 10. Like these kids are brainwashed.
They are.
It's coming out
I
the
agree with
pack.
that.
Why even send it in? Why even
If
send
I
it
get a
in?
10, I sell it and buy a 9 and then use the money to get more cards.
Well, I guess that's also a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, it sucks that the new generation is like, my nephew would come
They don't
over
appreciate
and
the
he'll be
art.
like, it's not a 10, and you're like, and I'm like, dude, it doesn't need to be a 10.
I mean, I
There's
wouldn't
only
want to raise
50
a
of these.
kid that's crying over a 9.
Yeah.
On a card. I mean,
They
that
don't
would be the end of
appreciate the card.
collecting. I would take the cards away from them and never let them look at them again.
A 9 is mint. Like I didn't even know. Growing up, I didn't know there was anything better than mint. I thought mint was
Yeah.
as good as it
Yeah,
it
right?
got. You know,
I
never
just
even heard
I
I
about
just
it.
think that it's jumped the shark a long time ago. And I'm
Mint,
sorry. I
mint.
mean, I don't know if you guys don't necessarily agree, but I mean, it is, and I don't want to say anything that John Wayne wouldn't say, but you know, it's getting to be ridiculous, to be honest with you. I
We're
mean, it
we're in
really is. I mean, there's just so
PG
much.
mode right now.
The
PG mode.
new product coming out, new product after new product. $2,000 boxes. You open it up, you get $30. That's not fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see you're looking for certain gems, and I like the stories that they've been. You know, cards have been out there. You're looking for them for a year or two. You don't even know if they exist, and one comes up, you get it for $100. Great, it feels good. And maybe it'll be worth $1,000. Maybe it'll be worth 2,000, or maybe not. But who cares? You felt good that moment. You opened it up. If it gives you some joy for $100, I guess that's entertainment for
Yeah,
you.
to me,
Well,
that's the only reason to buy unopened product, which I don't do at all because
Yeah.
it's the entertainment in the moment. But it's the equivalent of buying a scratch ticket. I'd rather just buy the cards I want.
Yeah,
As a
I can see
collector,
that.
but as a collector, I miss it. I miss open up wax. I miss ripping a couple packs. Like I got a couple packs, but it's like it's BS. It's like top series 1. I can't do a hobby box like I used to. I can't do any of
Right.
that. And
Yeah, no,
as long as I even
boxes.
get packs.
I don't
as
know
long as
why.
I do
For me, it's
packs,
not fun anymore. It's not fun. I mean, never had more fun as a kid opening packs. Let's
Yeah.
face it. That's kind of why we're probably all here. We
Yeah.
all have that great
Yeah.
experience. And maybe kids these days, I don't know. I mean, maybe they probably have it too. You know, I guess if you're 10, 11 o'clock, or 10, 11 o'clock, 10, 11 years old, you know, I can see where that be, you know, enticing or
well, that's
fun,
why
or
I have it.
trying to,
I don't
trying
even
to see.
open it anymore.
But
I
at
have it
these
for my little one.
prices, though, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not for, certainly only for rich people, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. The price thing doesn't bother me because there's still blasters still $25. Like it's
Is
the
it?
same as
Yeah.
You can still get a pack of baseball cards for $2. Like we were paying
No, you
$1
can't,
for
bro.
Upper Deck.
No. You don't
A
get packs for
blaster has
$2.
like a blaster has like
$8.
8 packs.
$8.
Yeah, but that's a
$8.
jumbo pack. That's a jumbo
No.
pack.
Bro, this is what they sell in the store. 36 cards, $8.
36
This
cards.
is
So
$15.
That's
when
not
we
bad, though.
were-
36
that's
cards.
not bad. When we were kids,
But-
you're getting 12 cards in a pack or 15 for
Yeah,
50
for
cents.
No,
Or a
yeah,
dollar?
about 15 cards.
But
15
you add
cards.
inflation. To me, I don't buy the whole like it's too expensive for kids. It's too expensive for the kids who's been brainwashed to buy the expensive boxes. But most 99% of these kids aren't buying. They don't have money. They're just like us when we were kids. If we had YouTube back then, we would have been watching guys break the expensive boxes. You know.
Their
But-
parents have money.
Yeah, but
Right.
us. It's not. I don't think the generation now has any more money than we did when we were kids. I think they're out buying blasters of tops for $25. Like when we were going to Costco and it was $10 for a box.
Well, I know that Fanatics is counting on it. They need your money.
Yeah.
So you need to
Yeah,
buy
and the
as much
high
of it
end-
as you can.
The high end stuff is different. The last thing I want
Totally
out of my
different.
hobby is buyer's remorse. You know,
Yeah.
there's other ways you can experience that in life. I don't want buyer's remorse in my hobby.
No kidding. That's for sure. Well, that's it. I think that's all I have to add. I already pissed off enough people tonight. All right, guys.
Dude, Mike, you're all good. You know me. I did it the first time. I just gonna, dude. You
Yeah.
can be as
I mean,
loud and as you want.
the
I
thing
just
is-
try and
is-
hold the F bomb down.
Nah,
That's all.
I ain't gonna tell people what time their kids should go to bed, but I mean it's a school night, so
I know,
even
but you guys,
even back
you
in
guys know me. I'm
even
trying
back
to
in
keep
Cali,
a family-friendly channel.
I get it, but
Ooh, I
bro,
got a
it's 10:30 on the East
Clemente
Coast.
card for you.
Just go to sleep. It's
All right, guys.
a
Gotta
school
roll.
night.
Good talking to you.
Hey, later,
Nah,
Mike.
That guy hurt Petty's feelings.
I think I did by bleeping him, but I don't know. I mean, dude. That's how I roll. It's on my show, and dude, cussing on my show is I just try and keep it to a minimum.
Bro, have you seen the?
Blue Rock's cussing's good. You don't go crazy. I love Mike, but I just
Did you see the live stream I had with Pepino last night?
I didn't get to watch it yet.
Bro, we do a deep dive on cards, of course. We talk about pickups, but then we start talking about childhood and the ass whoopings we used to get. So we do a deep dive on that.
No way.
So yeah, man, it was pretty
That's
good.
sick.
It was a 2-hour discussion. Oh, look at my boy John
John's in the
Mangini.
house. Hey, Lou Rock, then, since we answered this question, what is your thoughts on the whole, it's manufactured scarcity? I know you collect modern, so you can answer this question knowing that you actually buy some of these cards too. And I know you think that they'll probably have some will have value one day. What are your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts are, you have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Narrow your focus. You got to be focused in what you want to collect. If you're a player collector, then you got so many good choices. If you want to chase a rainbow, pick a year, pick a set, do a rainbow. Can't do every rainbow, but like I was lucky enough to do a Glaber run of his rated rookie. I got a couple cards because WAC was available, and I hit like 3 different colors. I have one like a 199. I'm like, let me try chasing to see how difficult it was. It was fun. I do to chase every, it makes me laugh because there could be like 6 1-of-1s in the same set. You can have a printing plate of a player. You can have the magenta printing plate of a player, the black and white printing plate of a player. You can have the tiger stripe 1-of-1. So it's really no 1-of-1s. If you want to take it old school and you want to stay true to the history of Topps and something that's appreciated, this is what I do. And this is what I like to chase, especially with players that I collect. Like when I'm chasing Acuna, Soto, Glaber, Judge, I always like the base. Base is always the foundation for me. I love having the base card. Base, chrome, refractor. You have those 3 things, you're set. Anything else is a bonus. But me as like a consumer, those are what I like to chase. Now, if you like numbered cards, go for the gold. It's tried, it's true, it's traditional, it's true with Topps, and you know the number every year. So if you like the number stuff, gold, refractors, chrome, base, boom, you're done. Maybe a rainbow foil, and then you're good. And I got the whole gold concept. Honestly, the person that made me start thinking about chasing the golds was Eric. Those back pages. The guy's a savant when it comes to
legendary.
And, yeah. But besides that, I don't need the damn taco fractor. That thing drove me crazy. The
That
logo
was
fractor,
ridiculous.
the donut fractor, the dang it's bananas. Don't get me wrong. I like the patriotic one that came out. I think it's numbered to 76 as the stars and stripes, but I'm not chasing it. If I hit it, I hit it. But base, chrome, refractor, done. And then get the gold if that's your guy. Like the trout. Like if I could get the Judge, I'm still trying to find a nice gold update of Judge. I got Glabers. Chase your guys. Don't chase everybody. Just chase your guys because those golds do get expensive. Some of the refractors, especially the rookies, get expensive, but you'll be much happier just chasing chromes and refractors, and then you're good. Because those
Yeah,
are
find your lane. There's a lot of
those-
stuff in the hobby I don't like either. You know, I agree with some of what Mike said. I'm not buying high-end boxes, you know, for $500 with 3 cards in them that I'm not going to enjoy. But I just tune that out. You know, there's plenty of stuff to like, so just focus on what you like and don't worry about the rest of it.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Stay in your lane. Like my boy Aaron Davis likes the relics, but it's not.
Yeah, he
he's
does.
not getting. He's not getting a swatch. He's not getting a napkin. My man's getting bat knobs. He's getting barrels, and this is stuff that you can go back and physically check. You can't check a napkin. However, what I was trying to explain to my boy Mike, love him, Mr. Goodhair, that kind of stuff, especially the old stuff, you can. Those are a lot easier to shoot. Some bat knobs that Aaron Davis gets have PSA DNA stickers on them, where you can go to the registry and still check the actual bat that they put up. And my man's getting like Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson, Spawn, like laundry tags of these guys, where you could check the era of the uniform and jersey. Now, I'm not saying that for today's relics, but for the old relics, that stuff is a lot easier because it's hard to separate the two because we're so in the moment. You know, do anything, we're in the moment. You know, Fanatics taking over is a monopoly. You know, people chasing tens, PWC, trimming. Like all we hear is negative. It's TMZ. But when we were growing up, summer of '98, baseball was good. I was pissed that, you know, I was reading my tough stuff. I'm like, they're going to cut up a Babe Ruth bat and put it in cards? Are they crazy? And then, you know, I get a Clemente bat and everything was good in the world, you know? So it's just, I think you got to take it with the era, you know? Nowadays, I'm so skeptical with the hobby and the market. I just stick to what I know. I'm not chasing the taco fractors and stuff like that. Base, chrome, refractors, gold number parallels. That's it. And just stay with the flagship. I like, you know, if I'm going to veer off flagship, it's still flagship because I still like Topps Chrome and I like Stadium Club. I don't do anything else with the dang, what's it called? I hate Goodwin championships. I don't need a swatch of a golfer or a wrestler. I hate how they put a comedian's game used relic of a microphone. I hate that. I don't buy it because you're not getting baseball players. You might get one baseball player. So that's just me. Hey, Victor, I like taco, bro. I just don't like the taco fractor, but tacos off the chain, bro. No street taco. All you need is cilantro, some onions, and whatever protein you want. That's it. Don't put no sour cream and tomatoes. Don't do that Taco Bell bull BS. See, I caught myself. I'm not drinking that much. I caught myself. Duncan.
Blue, I got a Clemente card for you. Check this
Dude,
one
let's
out.
see it. Oh, is that a buyback?
64.
That
No
is
way.
a Topps Heritage buyback.
Yeah.
No way. How did you score that thing's dead center too?
Oh,
Yeah.
When I saw your video,
back.
Wait,
when
how
I
did
saw
I
your video,
post
I
this?
started looking at buybacks.
Yeah, that was in this would have been 2013 Topps Heritage.
Oh my god.
Really? You never seen that video? I forgot how far
Dude,
back.
I
A couple
didn't see
months
that.
back.
I've never seen that card.
I've never even thought about buybacks. I knew of them, but I never thought about, oh, does Clemente have a buyback? And I'm sure he does it now because Jane has cornered the market because
He
that's
said
not
he
your
had
only one.
Clemente
Do you have
buyback.
another
I have one from him.
You have the 73? Yeah,
I got the 73
buyback.
Yeah,
and,
the 73.
and the 64. Those are my two Clementes. But
Dude,
and
that's
it's a perfect
insane.
card for this episode because it's vintage and modern.
It's a
It's a
combo.
vintage card and it's a
Exactly.
modern card.
All I'm saying
Mookie,
is
Mookie mentioned your Nolan Ryan earlier for that reason.
the what? I missed it.
He's
What?
got a Nolan Ryan rookie card that has a buyback stamp. Of course. It's insane.
I'm just calling shotgun. If that 73 ever, for whatever reason, has to leave your collection, for whatever reason, God forbid,
Right.
just give me the 73 buyback. 73 is my favorite. It's my first.
Lou Rock's
Clemente.
all-time favorite card because his mom gave it to him.
Yep.
Yeah, my mama gave it.
Pretty sick.
She still talked about it. She was up in my house. She's like,
Remembers?
oh.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, but she's like, how much is it worth, baby? How much is
Yeah.
it worth? Because
Worth-
she was like, I paid $35 for that card. I'm like, Mom, if you knew how much I spent on cards, $35 for a card back in the day was so much.
So much.
That was my Christmas present.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I still remember.
I mean, what's crazy is that card in that condition might be worth $35 today. That's what's because you go to the shop and every card was, it didn't matter. Everything was near mint. Everything was the Beckett price.
Yeah.
You know, it's like ridiculous. It was so hard to be a kid back then. Just try and buy vintage cards. It was like next to impossible. It was, unless you had somebody telling you about them and how to do it. Every card was the Beckett price.
Beckett price because near mint was sharp corners. Like, look at the corners on that thing. No wrinkles. Yeah. I was like, okay. I still shop that way. You know, don't get me wrong. If I see a nicely centered card, of course, I'm more attracted to that. But if it's like 80-20, 70-30, I'm not gonna be a centering snob, Dylan.
Dude, if I don't look, man, I gotta at some point I gotta be a snob about something because otherwise your collection just keeps growing and growing and growing. And you have to like just like these modern stuff, man. If you're not selective, you can really get sucked down the wrong rabbit hole and end up with way too many cards and way too much stuff that really doesn't tickle your fancy and make you enjoy your collection. So for me, it was a good emergency brake on my collection for vintage, and taking that leap to sell everything was a huge leap, but I'm just really glad I did it. And now I have a lane to go down because you can find any vintage card you want all day long, tops. But to me, the hunt, it does make it way more special when you come across it in there it is. Just like everything, it's just more fun that way. But hey guys, I gotta let my wife back in the room. I can't stay on very long, dude. I hope that Mike's not bummed out. Like I hope I hope people understand that, I'm not trying to like tell him what he can't talk about, what he can't say. It's just when I'm doing videos, he'll be fine. I mean, I have family that watches sometimes. They'll pop on, and I'm just trying to keep the cursing to a minimum.
Bro, I know this is your channel and everything, and I'm gonna respect you on your channel. But if it was my channel, I'd be like, bro, why is your kid not in bed? It's a school night. Even on the West Coast at 7:30, he should be getting ready, brushing his teeth. You know what I'm saying? 7:30 on the West Coast. He shouldn't be watching YouTube at night anyways. Take his ass to sleep. Let the grown folks talk.
I can't speak on that aspect. I have no kids, so I can't go down that rabbit hole.
I got 3. I got one going to college. They need to be in bed.
So hey, any last words for Shane? Dude, you're like the master. I love it. And Lou Rock too. You're like a legend for modern. You everything. You go up. You're like Eric, dude. You collect it all. Any last final thoughts for anybody out there? Close this thing off.
No, I would just say I hear you say it all the time, Dylan. But just like collect what you like. Don't let other people tell you what to buy. Don't buy modern because someone told you to. Just find your lane. Find what you enjoy, and don't listen to the rest of the noise. And you'll probably have a great time, and you won't be frustrated.
Lou, give me some wisdom. Let's give the rest of the guys some wisdom out there.
Don't listen to YouTube.
Yes, dude. So wise right there. Dude, before YouTube, hold on, we can do a quick one. Before YouTube, YouTube, everyone hates Pete Rose's rookie card on YouTube. Everyone hates Mike Trout on YouTube. Everyone hates certain things on YouTube. But when you look at you look at the actual market on what things sell for, that's your answer. People don't hate those cards. It's so
funny. If I can afford a 63 Pete Rose, guess where that Pete Rose is gonna be? Right there. Yeah. I can't afford it.
It's like so many things on YouTube I've learned that people hate and don't like, and I'm like, what? I love that,
Hey,
or vice versa.
let's play a game. Let's play a game real quick. I'm going to say something that you heard on YouTube, and then I'll pass it off
All right.
to you,
All right.
Dylan. And you guys
All
say
right.
something. So, first thing I heard on YouTube that I've never heard anywhere else, eye appeal. Go.
Centered cards are the best. You should only buy centered cards.
Never buy modern. Modern's terrible.
Uh,
I got another one.
buy what you like.
Oh, so much. Or you could just get your teeth kicked in, as Mike would say. Dude, another Brooks Robinson 1958 card. Ugliest card I've ever seen in the world. I look at that card and go, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't.
No, that card
the
is
colors
ugly.
on it are really nice.
No, that color is ugly, bro.
Dude, I love that. It's like the most unique card from that set.
No.
The photos.
No, the
not
most
great,
unique
but
card.
color?
The most unique card is the 48 Spawn with the Alfred Hitchcock profile. That's the most unique card.
Yeah, it is pretty good. Yeah.
Brooks Robinson in the midst of a burp that's a terrible card, bro. Now you want to flip it. Speaking about YouTube influence, the 53 PB Reese. Come on, bro. The most beautiful card in the world. Sorry,
I think
Alex.
his 56 tops cards. His 56 top card looks better. I had two of those 53s before I got on YouTube, but I sold them both since I got on YouTube because I found out how expensive that card is. And I was able to trade it for things, and so I don't have it anymore. I think that 56 is better looking.
Man, but even in the last 2 years, that PB's gone up. It's crazy how much it's gone up the last couple of years.
Crazy, yeah. It's gone nuts. Shane, anything on YouTube that you anything else that for the Rocks game that you?
No, I don't. Honestly, all I do is watch the channels of my friends, and I don't listen to any of the gossip channels or any of that stuff.
Liar.
I'm out of touch. No, for real.
He doesn't. He's like,
I can't even keep up with my friends' videos alone. There's not enough time in the day, so I don't watch it.
Shit, man. I got a whole bunch of them. Here's another one. I like PSA. I don't care what anyone says. It's just because I like everything to look the same. Bullshit. All your cards look the same when you put them on the wall. They all look the same in a box. Most of these cards are in a box anyways. What do you mean you need them to look the same? Just say you want PSA. You're a slave to the registry. Just say you're a slave to the registry. Don't tell me you got OCD and you need everything to look the same. It's in a box, bro. You don't see it.
Buy the card, not the grade. There's one. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yes. Yeah, the whole Frankenstein thing, when I looked at my wall in the past before YouTube, I never even thought about that there was 3-4 different grading companies on my wall. I guess 3. Like I never looked at it. I just was looking at the cards. And now, but I get it. I understand points of people they like things to look the same. That doesn't bother me. But it is really funny that YouTube is its own world because I sell my off-centered stuff all the time. People love it. And I just because I'm collecting it and you hear it from people, it's funny. It's a fun place to share our opinions, but all our opinions are definitely not always correct and right. But it's such a great place to learn stuff because before YouTube, it's just, for me, it was just my own brain making up things in my own head. And then YouTube gives you all these great ideas and different thoughts and different people's perspective on things. It's classic, but it definitely doesn't make it right. Everyone, gangs up on certain players, and next thing you know, everyone will love this one guy that was out, and you're just like, dude, what? It's crazy.
If you do YouTube right, you'll be a better collector. If you do YouTube wrong, you'll be miserable.
Dude, you just nailed it.
Yeah, I believe that. Oh, I was getting my man knows I just got the Mag Pros, and I was talking about it on the live stream, and Retro Fan was like, oh, a bunch of sheep. First off, I'm the tip of the spear, bro. I lead by example. I'm the first one running head first. But the thing is, Aaron Davis, world-class collection, great collector, smart guy, a historian of the game, especially in football. People don't know his knowledge in football. It's just bananas. And he's been talking about those things for weeks before he did a video. And he, you know, I'm on text thread with him. We're talking about it. I respect Aaron Davis. Then John gets on the horn and he is head over heels in love with the product. He's like, bro, you need to check this out. So of course I'm going to listen to those two guys. I mean, I respect them. Great collectors, great collections, world-class collections. So why wouldn't I check it out? It's not that. That's the beauty about YouTube. It does educate. You just got to filter all the BS.
Absolutely.
All the pretenders, you know. Those guys between them have probably 60, 70 years of collecting experience. I'm not going to listen to the kid saying, hey, I made $400 this week flipping cards. I'm like, do you understand $400 is not sustainable in anything? Like, that's not even tax, bro. You're still living at home. That's why you think $400 is a lot of money. $400 between, if you're selling cards, that's not even going to pay your table rent for the weekend. That's not going to pay for the gas. That's not going to pay for your little Mickey D's because, you know, he's 20, so he's got to eat McDonald's. I can't eat that. But come on, man. I saw John was showing something. He's like, this kid made $400 this week. I'm like, sarcastically, of course. Like, this kid's talking about $400 like he's a millionaire. He's a hundredaire, bro. He's a hundredaire.
Yeah, you have to do that 800. You have to do that at least 7 times a week then to make it in life.
What I'm saying.
Which is not.
He's coming up. He's got the thumbnails excited. You know, it's like $400. I'm like, bruh, I just put $80 of gas in my tank. Like, that's not gonna do anything, bro. The blind leading the blind, bruh.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, the more I feel like, I mean, we all know, but it's bizarre that the biggest channels, just like in the biggest things out there, I don't know. It's just, I guess there's a lot of people who follow people in life. I just don't quite understand that. Pick your people and kind of learn from them. But following people's advice, to me, and anything is absolutely crazy. You got to run everything in your own brain. Don't just be doing what someone tells you or what their opinion is. It's silly. It's just insane.
There's a saying I like: the empty vessel echoes loudest.
I like that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Well, I mean, you take this younger generation, you know, their attention is very, very short, you know, very all over the place, you know, squirrel, they start chasing it. But like the big channels, I'm not gonna lie to you, they are entertaining. They might be saying some BS, you know, they're talking out their ass or they're regurgitating information they already heard from someone who actually knows. It's like a game of telephone, you know, they heard it and then you try to repeat it, they mess it up. But like the Jeff Wilsons, the Jabs families, the Mojos, you know, their shows are entertaining. They have production value. You know, they have content on the daily, so it's always something. I mean, it's hard to compete with that when you got these kids like, this must be the truth. They got 100,000 followers. It's entertaining. They're on every day, you know? And a lot of these collectors, Aaron Davis would do a video once every 2 months, but that's because he won't come on till he has something to say. You know, some of these guys are regurgitating the same thing. They're saying the same thing 20 different times. Like, how many, you know, I almost told myself, I'll keep that to myself because I was going to say a story and I was going to name the channel. I'm not going to do that.
Save that one.
I'm not that drunk. Never mind.
Dude, I had
I
had a full foot in the mouth. Like, I did a video the other night. You guys ever lose sleep over like some things? Because I won't rewatch my videos, you know, because I just like.
Oh, his wife cut him off, bro.
Yep, that's it.
His wife
Let's get
cut
Mike
him
back
off.
on. Yeah.
She's like, I told your ass to get to bed. Oh.
Lou, how many of those
yeah.
cases
That's
you got? I
what's
saw
going on,
your Instagram.
on.
few
Yeah,
of
we're
them
still
you showed
moving.
off.
We're still live. Yeah, Andrew saying we're still here. Keep it going. All right. I mean, what were you showing earlier? Because I missed the first part of the live stream. I got some modern.
Yeah, let's see it.
I don't know what I have, bro. Well, I have this for Dylan. I had it to the side because I'm bringing this to the National Forum. And the thing is, I have a whole bunch. Like, I was going to put out there, anyone who's interested in 84 Tops Tiffany, I can get them graded if that's what they want, because they're all similar grades or higher. So I was going to just bring it to the National and give them away or trade them or whatever.
You got your
Dude, are you guys still here?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
No way, it keeps running. Even my thing died.
Yeah.
Literally, battery died.
Yeah, we said your wife just cut you off.
Oh my god. Okay, so dude, where I left off, like you guys have, I don't watch my videos again over again, except when I just want to look at my cards. When I lay in my bed, I'll pull my videos up and just go to the cards and put it on silent while my wife's sleeping, just so I can see my collection. I don't know if you guys are crazy like me, but I did say something stupid in my video, I guess, like something about, like I said, like I don't like editing my videos. I think fools edit videos, something dumb, but I didn't mean it in a bad way. But I lost sleep over it because I got a comment, and then I actually called someone to tell them, dude, I didn't mean anything by that. Well, actually, I take that back. I didn't call this person. They called me about something totally different. But I wanted to clarify with them. They're like, dude, it's all good. But you guys ever do that? Like, the worst thing for me in life is doing a YouTube video where I'll lose sleep over something that I said. So I'm always trying to think ahead of what is going to come out of my mouth.
I love this hobby, but at the end of the day, it's baseball cards. Like, it's not worth getting worked up over. It just isn't.
I know, but when you say something about, like, when I said something about like editing, and then I didn't. Oh. When I say something, I'm not like I don't like pointing fingers or feel like I'm pointing fingers. You got so. Anyways, I just hate losing.
Damn, I thought you were talking about something deep.
No, dude, I don't like doing anything bad. Like, I'm kind of like
criticism. I thought you were like talking shit about talking like gossip or something. Like, so what? So editing is not your thing. You can talk shit about editing, bro. Who cares? It's your style of channel. You know, like Ranger Studios has some best editing. Yeah. I'm sure he doesn't take offense to it. You know what I'm saying? It's your opinion. It's what you want to do. It's America. You can say what you want to say. You know what I'm saying? I thought you were talking about maybe you say something.
You're one of the most positive people in the hobby. So if somebody takes an issue with you, that's their problem.
It wasn't someone taking an issue with me. It was literally once I found out, I re-listened. I was like, oh man, yeah, that sounded kind of mean. I didn't mean it to come across that. It's this YouTube thing's kind of scary sometimes. Like when we're live.
If someone had an issue, they're just soft, bro. Oh, they're just being soft. If someone had a problem because you said you had an issue with editing and someone took offense to that, it's like, bro, you're just being soft, man.
It wasn't like
that. I mean, you can have that opinion.
Well, I've taken offense from what someone said about things, and you guys know that I'm.
Well, you were singled out, bro. That's different.
Yeah. Okay. So
you were singled out, bro.
Okay. So I don't want people to think like I'm like a sensitive. Like, dude, I could take some fire, man. Like, bring it on. But I also will.
There's a difference.
Okay.
Because Dylan, you were talking in generalities. You were just talking about editing in general. You didn't point to someone, because there's a lot of people who create James Elite Hunters, 380s Kid, Ranger Studios. These guys edit and they put time and effort, and is much appreciated. Then you got, blue collar guys. You got me, you got Pepino. My son started showing me how to like edit and transition. I didn't know. He uploaded a new app for me. I don't know any of that stuff. Yeah. I thought you were talking about like maybe you said something, I could see keeping politics out of it, religion out of it. I get that.
I won't bring any of that.
You can offend a whole bunch of people, but I would never worry about saying something, terrible. You know why? Because when I edit, I watch my videos, and if my comment makes me go, if I do one of these, I'm like, I'll just take it out.
I guess I should.
Because
I guess I should watch my.
yeah,
watch my
but
Dylan,
don't ever blindly, never
I put
blindly
my
upload.
iPhone on top of one of these on a stack of books, and I hit record. So I'm on team no edit.
All right. I love it. I love guys that edit, and I just want to kind of clarify things. I'm just trying
You know what?
to
If I
talk
have to
about.
tell you one thing about YouTube, this is my advice: never blindly upload. How about that? Rewatch your stuff.
That's good advice.
You know?
That's good advice.
Don't
Especially if
especially
you're drinking, right?
yeah, you don't even have to watch it, bro. You just play it, just hear it. Because I know you do a lot of podcasts. Just have it in the background, just because you know where you're at, what you were doing. But if you hear it and you're like, "Ooh, that's not how it was intended," or it came out the wrong way, or the sarcasticness. If you were trying to be sarcastic, didn't come through.
Yeah.
Pick it up, and
Good
it's
idea.
easy to
No,
edit
I'm
that
going.
out. I mean,
After the last one, I was like, dude, why am I losing sleep over this? I going to do that in the future for sure.
That's kind
Just
of
listen to it first.
yes.
Can
Yeah, but that's not too bad, bro. I'm great at editing. Yeah, vintage. Rick is great at editing. Vintage oddball. You can
I like
it on the
Peter's
phone.
suggestion. You might want to get the bleep button for next time. That's a good suggestion.
Dude, that'd be so. If I had one of those, I'd just shoot them out there.
Mike is good, man. I just called Mike. Mike is good.
Dude, Nate's on here. Paul's on here. Hammer. Dude, there's so many guys that are watching right now. Still, it's crazy. Love you guys.
What do you want to get cards, bro? Forget cards?
Yeah, I do have to go. My wife is gonna. I told her it was gonna be an hour and a half.
10 minutes ago, bro.
I said an hour and a half. She's like, "What am I gonna do?" I'm like, "I can do it in here, and you can come in here." But,
watch Netflix. She's probably asleep right now, bro. Oh no, you're 5 hours.
Dude, it's only 6 o'clock. Sun's still out.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock over here. I was gonna show you my rainbow.
Let's see that Mike Trout to end episode number 27 here. Let's see it.
There. Gold, my first Mike Trout right there. I mean, well, it's not my first, but my first. It might have been my second Mike Trout card I purchased for like $2,300. I think I paid. And you know what? It's still worth that, which is crazy. All the base cards tanked, but that thing's still worth around $2,000-ish plus, give or take.
Yeah. You know why? Because it's a set number. There's a million base cards of the Trout, which is nice. I'm probably gonna end up with one as it continues to drop. Because the focus to the hobby has gone to Shohei. He's the guy. He's
totally
the face.
100%. Yeah.
So I'm good. But if I see at the national, if I see that Trout for $200 at the national, I'll pick it up.
Dude, did you guys see how
that was a card I was trying for 1,000?
Did you see how in shape Mike Trout looks this year? I mean, he's 32 years old. When I was 32 years old,
he's in shape every year.
Dude, yeah, but
he's in shape every year, bro. It's staying healthy throughout the year. Stanton looks healthy.
If you get hurt, you get hurt.
Looks like a machine every year, and guess what? He breaks down.
Dude, I mean, but I'm telling you, it only is going to take one season, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh yeah, Mike Trout. Yeah, I remember him when he has the same stats as Mickey Mantle at his age." Like, oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. It'll happen.
Yes and no. I mean, you could say the same thing about Pujols. Pujols' first 10 years was unbelievable, and he has multiple MVPs. I mean, yeah, Trout has 3 MVPs, but what, you think one more MVP is going to change his trajectory or his prices? No. He's not the.
Well, I probably would. It would at least keep him. Okay, he's solidified. He only needs one. He only needs to finish the season off. That's it.
Hey, brother, the thing that with this market, you can't flip Trout. You can't. I mean, Trout, even with him down $400, what are you gonna do? Flip it for 500? All the hype goes to the rookies because that's where you can make your money. It's all hype. They sell hype. Julio Rodriguez, when he came out, cards were going for $1,000. Now you can find him in value boxes, man. Not all of it, but most of his, chrome refractors, they're not crazy expensive. That first year, though, bananas. So, I mean, they're so hype.
Injuries and on-field stuff aside, that Trout is like iconic in the hobby, that 2011 Trout, in the same way the 89 Griffey is, or the 52 Mantle at this point,
Yeah. You
Well,
won't
I'm
see
not
another
trying to
peak
sell
on
any,
that.
I'm not trying to sell anyone on Trouts here. Trout's my guy. I'm an Angels fan, so
Yeah. You'll see a peak
gotta
when he gets
defend
to
my
the Hall.
guy, man.
They're gonna go crazy. Will Trout play 100 games this year? He'll play 120. He'll play 120 games.
That'd be great if you played
Because
I hope
120.
he stays healthy. It's good for
Well, he'll stay
baseball if he can
healthy,
stay
but-
healthy.
Everyone's so
You guys
worried
will
about
get-
these 30-year-olds, man. Remember when you were 30? When I was 30, I was like a machine. I was a machine until I hit 41 years old.
Yeah,
Absolute machine.
yeah, but you weren't playing professionally. Look, people don't realize
These guys aren't surfing 4 hours a day either. So hey, just because they're pro athletes doesn't mean there's other athletes that don't do just as much as those pros. I'm still an athlete, and I
You're talking about
look at Goldschmidt. He was like 35. I feel like when he got his MVP last. Like, I think people underestimate people in their 30s. They can come back and have huge shoes. Look at Mookie Betts came back and just smashed it last year. So Graves not.
Yeah, but he was in the infield. He was in the infield, not in the outfield. Bro, people don't realize when you're 32, you're already the veteran and old guy, and they're already looking to replace you. It's so finite. I mean, you're talking about 1% of all players making it to that level, and Trout was 1% of the 1%. And to play at such a high level, even when he's good, it looks bad because he was so far ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And he was 110%. That's why he was hurt. That's why Griffey got hurt, because he didn't take no days off.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't take days off. I mean, he's 120% into the wall, flying over the wall. He's sliding. That's why they got hurt. It's not that he doesn't want to. The body's saying, slow it down. Yeah, he's healthy now. He just had a couple months off. Longer than most because they didn't make the playoffs. He's going to play 120 games because the Angels are going to be 20 games out. Why are you going to risk them playing
going all the way to the series?
Yeah, they're going to be 20 games out, bro. There's no reason Trout's going to play 160 games, even if he could. You'd be lucky if he plays 130.
I have no idea.
What my boy said.
Okay. Hey, that's it. We're out. Signing off. Hey, love all you guys. Thank you guys all for watching. Thanks, Shane. Thanks, Blue Rock. Wish I could stay longer.
Editing sucks.
See you guys.
Okay. Later, guys.
Go Yankees.
Go Angels.